I would like to share the story of how I broke the cycle of recurrent strep infections. I want to give a disclaimer that this is just my story, this is not medical advice, but I wanted to share how this happened in my life. I used to get strep infections every year. I remember as a child having strep every year, and then as I became an adult, I would get it multiple times a year. I worked in daycare, I worked at a hospital. I was sick a lot, and I had strep a lot, and I took a lot of antibiotics. Once I started using homeopathy and studying homeopathy, I was actually enrolled in a program to become a homeopath and got strep throat. So I spoke with my homeopath, who was my instructor and also a medical doctor, and we obviously tried a remedy for the strep throat. So at that time, it was very, very painful. And I remember this was probably 13 years ago or so. I remember sitting on the couch. It was late at night and I couldn't sleep because I couldn't move. I literally could not lie down. I couldn't even lean back on the couch because it was too painful. And I remember being on the phone and just saying, I'm so tired and I went to sleep, but I can't even lay my head back. And that was a strange enough symptom that helped point to a very specific remedy that I took. And within minutes, I could move and I felt a lot better and went to sleep. And by the morning, I felt a lot better. So I'm not giving the name of the remedy because I don't want people to think, oh, strep, take this remedy. Because homeopathy is unique. It's unique to the patient. Every person that has strep throat has different symptoms, and some people, even in your own household, if two people have strep, one person might want hot drinks to make their throat feel better. Another person would say, oh my gosh, hot makes it feel worse, I need cold. So it's very specific. So, three people with strep in your house might need three different remedies. And we have found that over the years with different viruses and things like that, that two of us might need the same one, but then the other two people might need completely different things. So it's great, and homeopathy is wonderful because it does look at very specific symptoms to that patient. So for me, I needed the certain remedy. I took it. I felt much better. But the best part is I have never had strep again. In all of those years, not once have I had strep again. And that for me was life-changing. Not having strep, not having to worry about being around people with strep. About a year later, one of my kids got strep. And I remember thinking okay, how's this going to go? Am I going to get it again? But I knew that I could take a remedy and I would be better. But when my child got strep, I actually didn't get it. And that to me was just amazing. And in 13 years, as I have multiple kids and they have had strep, I have not gotten it again. And my kids, once they were treated with homeopathy, have not had it again. So my son, I remember distinctly, it was probably a year later after this first occurrence with me, I remember him having huge, swollen glands, and we, sore throat, got the strep test, rapid strep test. It came back positive, and worked with a homeopath. He took a remedy for it, and within a half hour, it was completely back to normal. He was running around playing. It worked even faster than antibiotics. I also want to say that people often freak out when you say that you didn't give antibiotics for strep. While I wholeheartedly agree that you should not let strep go untreated, antibiotics is not the only way to treat strep. I know this from my own personal experience, and I'm saying my story of how we've used homeopathy and it worked even faster than antibiotics, more thoroughly. It did not suppress any symptoms, and we have been free from strep permanently since then. That's not to say we might not ever get it again, but I know that there are options and remedies to help us if our immune system is down and we get it again. But so far, so good. We have not had to deal with that particular infection again, which has been great. So all that to say, strep does need to be treated. There are different options, of course, that you can use. I always recommend using a homeopath, especially when you or your family is sick. Even someone like me who has, 15 years of homeopathy experience, I often consult my homeopath, because when you're in the situation where you're sick or your child's sick, you're not very unbiased. You tend to, see things in a certain lens, but if you can just relay things to somebody else, they have a better idea, a better picture of what's going on. If you do not have a homeopath, I highly recommend Homeopathy 24/7. They are on-call homeopaths from around the world who are available day, night, any hour of the day, and they will consult with you for an acute situation. It's not very expensive, but they will help you figure out what remedy that you need. And I also recommend having a homeopathy kit on hand to have the most common 50 remedies. And it's not that expensive. It's under $100 for a homeopathy kit with 50 remedies in it, or 25 or 30. There's different kits available, but just having those common remedies that can be used in different situations. The same remedy could be used for a UTI as for strep throat as for the flu, depending on your symptoms that point to that remedy. There are, gosh, over 4,000 remedies out there, but there are some that are just more commonly used for things. So it's always good to have a kit on hand for when you have an acute situation that you need to use a remedy. You have it, and you don't have to worry about trying to find it when you're sick or your kid's sick. So I just wanted to share that story of how homeopathy works beautifully to heal deeply, to heal permanently, and just give hope that you don't have to deal with all of this stuff forever when you treat the whole body, the whole system.